Item 5 on our agenda is a briefing from King Conservation District. We're joined today by Rosa Méndez-Perez, Executive Director of King Conservation District. Thank you for coming today. Please go ahead with your briefing.
Thank you for having me. I am going to share some slides, if I may.
Okay, we can see them.
All right, and are you viewing them as a slideshow?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Thank you for the introduction. I'm King Conservation District, or KCD's Executive Director, Rosa Méndez-Perez. I'm really happy to be here to present on KCD's accomplishments for 2022 and our upcoming work over the next year. I've been with KCD for almost 2 years now, and not only am I proud of what we've been able to accomplish in that time, I'm really excited for our future. For today, I do have some slides that describe our accomplishments from 2022, along with our work and some examples that demonstrate the broader conservation impact of our projects. And at the end, we'll talk about the look forward to new years. KCD works to improve King County's natural resources, and we do this through voluntary stewardship on private lands. We provide support to private residents through education, technical assistance, cost share projects, and through grants. The cumulative impact of our work are residents who are equipped to be good stewards of their natural resources, and also healthier environments that support wildlife like salmon and foster healthier communities. Our projects don't just benefit the location where the work is done. For example, a streamside project that improves water quality and salmon spawning benefits everyone downstream and beyond. Or an agricultural drainage project that increases farmable acreage may improve the economics and availability of local food across King County. Improving natural resources has the effect of spilling out and improving quality of life for all King County residents. We were very busy in 2022. We worked with rural farmers to improve soil health and water quality, including improving over 300 acres of farmland. We also planted close to 21,000 native trees and shrubs into communities to sequester carbon and provide habitat for wildlife. And we invested almost $3 million in local conservation infrastructure through our cost share program, grants, and implementation projects. Now, I know this slide is a little busy, but it demonstrates from our annual report where we are meeting or exceeding most of the benchmarks set out in our current interlocal agreement with King County. We also are working to catch up in those program areas where we did not meet some of our benchmarks in earlier years of the ILA due to COVID-19 disruption. On this slide, you'll also see we report on 3-year averages, which do catch us up with the set benchmarks overall. For the next ILA, we will continue to hone program benchmarks to provide an accurate reflection of the value of our work that is undertaken. And I want to continue with our outcomes on a slide that is better to read. And we'll show we collect a lot of our results through survey data from project participants. Not everyone returns a survey, but for projects that we surveyed in 2022, we can report that in forestry, 80% of participants reported improvement to their forest after following KCD advice. And 100% of survey respondents implemented a conservation practice after working with one of our technicians. And for farm, 83% of participants reported improvements to their farm 1 year out. And for riparian, 83% of the participants reported that they were unlikely to implement a riparian enhancement project without KCD support. And 83% also reported conservation improvements to their property. These outcomes are better demonstrated through some examples, and I'm going to turn next to some examples of our different projects. The first one was in Kirkland. Local restaurant Cafe Juanita owner Holly Smith noticed that there was some accelerated stream bank erosion and loss of land behind her restaurant. Now, this stream was historically salmon bearing, but after development, there was reduced vegetation and habitat along the creek, which reduced fish populations. Holly reached out to KCD in late 2021 looking for assistance. And in 2022, KCD partnered with Adopt a Stream Foundation to fund and implement a stream bank stabilization and fish habitat enhancement project. Adopt a Stream was able to obtain the engineering plans and all the permit approvals for installation of 20 to 36 large wood structures along the stream bank for stabilization and habitat improvement. Then KCD worked to secure funding through the Washington State Conservation Commission's Salmon Recovery Program and contributed funding for 3 years for invasive weed control and for planting of 516 native trees and shrubs through KCD's Landowner Incentive Program. In just over a year, KCD and Adopt a Stream helped Holly Smith transform her property from a growing concern to a renewed salmon haven. Our next example is around tree giveaways and our partnership with some of the jurisdictions in King County. We often partner with cities to improve urban tree canopy. Urban tree canopies provide shade, reduce stormwater flooding, and improve public health. We provided project management for 3 to 4 new projects every year, and in the last 7 years, we've worked on at least 1 project with all 34 member jurisdictions. These projects include controlling invasive species, replanting native trees, forest assessments, and stewardship management plan development. In 2022, we coordinated urban tree giveaways for Kenmore and Kirkland. These tree giveaways provided over 600 trees to more than 300 residents. And while these trees may appear small, they could reach just 3 inches in diameter in 5 years or so, and they will sequester close to 21,000 pounds of CO2 annually and absorb 3,016 cubic feet of stormwater and remove 77 pounds of pollution. Our next example is around our member jurisdiction grants, which are part of the partnership with the city to promote conservation across King County. Cities and community groups often are the ones that know best the needs of their communities. And our grants help to enhance the great work that those cities and partner organizations identify and are often already working on. 8 jurisdictions, the cities of Auburn, Burien, Des Moines, Kent, Normandy Park, Renton, SeaTac, and Tukwila, pooled their KCD funds for this one project. The Environmental Science Center was able to reach more than 11,000 K-8 students, and 90% of those students showed improved environmental and stewardship knowledge. The Science Center specializes in providing experiential environmental education programs for all ages, and they do this not just at the center, but at local beaches, streams, forests, and gardens throughout South King County. And through these programs, our young people are self-directed and they can improve science literacy and awareness about how individual actions can improve local beaches and salmon habitat. Field studies took place at Seahurst Park in Burien, the Cove in Normandy Park, Renton Community Center, Mary Olson Farm in Auburn, and both Mill Creek Earthworks Park and Clark Lake Park in Kent. Our next example is from our Regional Food System Program, where we also have a competitive grant program as well as strategic investments. Our RFS grants are based on the goals and strategies of King County's Local Food Initiative, and we get input from Regional Food System participants. This program funds projects that have demonstrated public benefits and contribute to the economic viability of local farmers, as well as encouraging new farmers or expanding acreage in food production or improving food access or increasing demand for and sales of local King County farm products. Between 2015 and 2022, we've invested nearly $6.3 million in regional food system funds, leveraging almost $4 million in cash and in-kind support through both our competitive and strategic initiative grants. This one example is with World Relief Western Washington, where they will be adding a new commercial and teaching kitchen in Kent alongside their successful Parkside Parking Lots community garden. This kitchen will continue to expand community and economic opportunity for the surrounding area, as well as providing education, community building, and small business development opportunities for King County immigrant and refugee populations. This next project with Youth Grow is a demonstration of our partnership with Seattle and the Seattle Community Grant Awards. These grants are specifically for projects that improve natural resources and are co-created, led by, and benefit people most impacted by environmental and climate inequities, including Black, Indigenous people of color, immigrants, refugees, people in lower incomes, and youth and elders. In 2022, KCD granted $43,000 to Youth Care to support their Youth Grow program. This is an education and job readiness program for 40 students ages 15 to 21 annually from Seattle's Interagency Academy who are experiencing homelessness or housing instability. This is a way to engage at-risk youth, to increase food access and production, and to cultivate a positive environment. Students who participate build job readiness skills, including fundamentals of food production, sustainability, and they're earning high school credits and receiving a financial stipend. Our next project was quite a big project with lots of different partners. In 2020, Griffin Creek, outside of Carnation, jumped its banks and was flooding 20 acres of working farmland. Hundreds of salmon were disconnected from Griffin Creek, swimming through pastures and eventually dying. KCD collaborated with King County for this project to reconnect Griffin Creek. The project was a successful completion of a proposed pilot that was agreed upon in the 2011 Fish Farm Flood Agreement to execute the removal of sediment from the modified natural stream. King County Stormwater Services worked through a very challenging permitting process for dredging of the stream, and KCD secured state funds and managed the public works contract. Together, we reconnected Griffin Creek, replaced 2 fish passage barriers, installed 50 pieces of large woody debris to improve salmon habitat, and since this project was implemented, the river has remained in its banks, and roughly 80 acres of productive farmland was recovered. And salmon are successfully navigating that portion of the river up to their spawning grounds. Next, we also wanted to touch on our equipment loan program. We currently have a no-till seed drill, a manure spreader, and a lime drop spreader that are used dozens of times each year by small local farms to improve production and for conservation impact. In 2022, we responded to the needs of our local dairy farmers, where our dairy planner met with them to identify opportunities to improve conservation and business outcomes. And through those conversations, we identified a need for a hose reel, and we purchased and added a hose reel to our equipment loan program. This reel will help our local dairies with timely and consistent manure management and field application. And in turn, this will help protect water quality and improve soil nutrients. And next, we'll talk about our wildfire preparedness program, where we continue to partner with communities for education and wildfire risk reduction. Some of our projects include scoping of wildfire mitigation and cost share projects. One example is the Trilogy community near Redmond. This project will treat and reduce hazardous fuels on 3 acres owned by the Trilogy Homeowners Association along the Redmond Watershed Preserve. Implementation is planned for 2023. And now we just wanted to touch in on looking towards the future. Our current interlocal agreement will expire at the end of 2024, and we are working very hard to lay the groundwork for the 2024 rate renewal with King County. And this includes working with our partners and our stakeholders to make sure that the plan that we're developing reflects their conservation realities and their needs. To inform this plan, we are developing an equity-focused 5-year strategic plan, an updated program of work, and an updated rates and charges. We're building these materials with input from our advisory committee, our partners, our staff, King County staff, and the general public through listening sessions. And we plan on bringing this plan to the King County Council in 2024. I want to thank you again for having us here today to talk about our conservation work, and I'm looking forward to working with you and meeting you and your staff as KCD plans for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Director Méndez-Perez, for your great presentation, and I really appreciate you breaking it out by district. It helps us see the overall, but it also helps us really understand what's happening for our residents, our constituents, and we can share that with them in a meaningful way when you break it out that way. So very, very much appreciate that. Do any of my colleagues have questions? No questions. Wow, you must have covered it all so very well. I share the, so Councilmember Dunn chairs the flood committee, and I'm vice chair. And then also we work with Fish Farm and Flood. And I'm particularly curious about how you showed a lot of intersections there, but there are a lot of overlapping questions and concerns that we talk about in Farm Fish Flood. How does KCD intersect with Fish Farm Flood?
Oh, we have active participation in their meetings. There have been different staff members over the years, and we've had to shift some of those responsibilities, but we do have our stewardship director who participates in those conversations.
Great.
And I know that from our regional food system program, our program manager is also very involved in the local food initiative, and they have cross conversations as well.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, for all the great work that you do, and we look forward to working with you closely in the coming year as well.
Great, thank you. And we look forward to also inviting everyone to future site visits so that you can see the work on the ground.
Absolutely. We love that. Thank you very much.